do that with, to build that PC with. So we're going to start off with the processor. I went with a Intel Core i5-3570K Ivory Bridge quad core 3.4 gigahertz. Very good processor. Yeah, it's not an i7, but who cares? Very overclockable. Comes with Intel HD Graphics 4000, which doesn't really matter. I'm getting a graphics card anyway, but that means this card's going to be that much more faster. Excuse me, not this card. This processor is going to be that much more faster when it comes to video rendering and frames per second in games and stuff. And it comes in at a very reasonable price point at $220. So it's very acceptable and understandable of why I'd go with this. Next would be the motherboard. I went with the Asus P8Z77. This is a very good motherboard. Has two PCI 3.0 express slots for graphics cards. Has everything you could want on it. Even has a old mouse and a keyboard hookup there. USB 3.0. Oop, my computer's wigging out. USB 3.0, VGA and DVI out ports, more USB slots, and as well as integrated audio. So it has enough RAM slots and everything for me to essentially use everything in my system with this. This would house it all. So that's a very good motherboard at a very reasonable price, $144, $145 if you're rounding. And Asus is always a good motherboard manufacturer. Next would be graphics card. I went with the MSI GeForce GTX 660 with 2 gigabytes of GDDR5. Very good card, very fast. It's not a 680 or a 670, but it is a GTX GeForce 660, which is a sufficient card, very good for playing games and whatnot. If you have a little extra money, maybe you could throw 2 of these in there with a SLI configuration and have a very fast GPU. Now next we're going to move on to RAM. I chose Corsair Vengeance 16 gigabytes, 2 strips of 8 gigabytes, 240 pin DDR3, 1600 megahertz. Very good fast memory. Corsair has always been a good brand, good company for that, for memory and whatnot. So that's what I chose for the RAM. Next would be power supply. I went with a Seasonic X 750 watt Gold Edition. Seasonic has always made very high quality products. This power supply would not let you down. 750 watts should be more than sufficient to run 2 GTX 660s and so forth. Whatever else you should be throwing at it, it could handle it. Next would be the hard drive. I went with a Western Digital 2 terabyte hard drive, 7200 RPMs. Very good stable hard drive. Western Digital always makes good products. So that's the main hard drive I went with. Next I went with a boot drive, which would be a 256 gigabyte SATA 3 internal solid state drive. This would be where you could store your Windows 7 operating system and boot from that, just to have extremely fast boot time. And then last but not least, I went with the ErnerMax Ostrich GT case. It's a mid-tower, ATX mid-tower. The reason I went with it is because it has lots of airflow and lots of selections and areas for fans and things, and it keeps everything inside of it really cool, as you'll see here. You can see how much fan space it has. And it has a very large inside compartment to be a mid-tower. So that is the tower I went with, plus it's only $75, so it's not a bad price at all. And so this is my gaming PC for under $1,500. It came out to be $1,269 US dollars. If you had a little extra money, you could throw another graphics card in there and be set to go. So this is my build this time, guys. I'm gonna do another build series video. This is just the mid-range build series video, and then I'm gonna do a low end range and a high end range. And I'll give it a price limit at every time. But this is just my recommendations. Now you could get whatever keyboard and mouse you want, and fans and LED strips for your case, and whatever monitor you'd like. This is just what I would build if I had this budget. If I had a budget of about $1,500, this is what I would choose to build with. So this is just my thoughts and input on what you should do with that amount of money. I hope it helped. If you guys have any questions, please drop me a comment, rate, comment, subscribe, and I'll see you guys next time. Later.